Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. We will be starting shortly. Stand by.
Okay, thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the news briefing this Wednesday, August 20th. This year's back to school time is a little different than in previous years, and it is very different for families who have mixed immigration status. It's creating a lot of anxiety. Our local districts are working very hard to make sure that students feel safe and that there are resources for families. Here to talk about this topic, we're very pleased to have Dr. Ralph Porras, who is the Deputy Superintendent for the Monterey County Office of Education. Dr. Porras, thanks very much for being here and talking about this year's back to school, which, as I said before, is a year like no other.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. And I have some stuff to share on screen if eventually I'm able to do that. I'll show you in a minute. But so grateful to be here and on behalf of Dr. Deneen Gus, our superintendent, to talk about this issue. And absolutely, there's a lot of tension. Obviously, we've had a lot of tension through the middle of last year and into this year. And the good news is that we've off to a very good start countywide. I've had a chance to talk with our schools. And just to see how things are rolling for them. In particular, our schools are impacted with migrant families and those concerned with immigration issues. So far, a good start. But we know our students and our families are very nervous. Our attendance rates have been pretty positive, and our schools have been checking in with families who have not been coming to just see what might be the reasons. And there are mixed reasons, of course, travel, getting back from wherever they were to school. But for the most part, the misgivings in regards to immigration, we've seen a fairly decent uptick in our attendance. However, that being said, we at the county office have been working really hard, have been putting together our immigration resources page for our schools and our families, and spent quite a bit of time building that up as a bulwark for this issue. Our principals at our school sites at all the districts around the county and our superintendents are aware of the resource and have been able to make sure that parents have quick and easy access to that page as well. We're trying to assure our families, it's most important, do the very best you can to come to school. We're making sure that our schools are safe, inclusive, welcoming environments for their students. We know we want them to get the resources that they absolutely need, especially those who are participating in Head Start programs, migrant services programs, special education programs. We don't want our students to miss out, and we want them to feel safe and secure, and we're doing the very best we can to make that happen. I think that probably the most positive news that we've had so far, just most recently, was that we were able to unimpound, if that's a word I can use, the monies that were impounded out of all the federal grants, all the titles that were being held back in abeyance, though they had been approved by Congress in the past year. They were being impounded, and so school districts across the state, counties across the state, were unsure whether or not we were going to be able to continue our migrant education programs, our Head Start programs, and a few of the other title supported programs. Through a lot of work, advocacy work in particular, not only with our local Congress and senators, we ended up going statewide with all of the county office of education and did a massive campaign on the issue, especially in and around the migrant services. And as I think as a result of that work, we were able to get the monies unimpounded. We are able to now pursue and work through all of our title programs for our migrant Head Start students, and which is a huge boon. A few counties in the state had to think about putting employees on notice because without the funding, you can't host a program. And luckily now we're able to proceed forward. And the reason that's so important is that those programs provide the services that a lot of our immigrant families need. And without that, our schools were going to be a hand tied behind their back and an ability to be able to serve these students. That's a tremendously good news. And we want to thank all of our legislators locally and across the state for making that happen. So that's a good one. I don't know if I can share the screen or not, but I can certainly talk with you in regards to sort of the
You can
resource.
absolutely share your screen. I hope you will.
Okay, excellent. Give me one quick second to make sure I get onto that. And so you can see where we're at. And I think that's it. All right, now. So can you see that now?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. This is right on our Monterey County Office of Education homepage. And if you go to where it says for communities and you just scroll down a little ways in the box, you're going to see immigration, resources, and relations. If you click that box, it will take you right to the page that we're on right now. And you'll see a message from our superintendent there highlighting for our families in particular our genuine interest to make sure that we're fostering a welcome environment for all our students without the fear of discrimination. And as soon as you scroll down that screen, you're going to find a bevy of resources, all in the major areas that you can see: policy and guidance, toolkit and resources, family preparedness, legal services, know your rights, mental health resources. And we are updating these links every opportunity we have as we get more information. We're encouraging our schools and our families to reach out to this page, check it out. It gives you whatever information you might need. I do want to highlight a couple of points on this page that I think are important, at least timely wise. We know that as school is starting, and the fear of any kind of deportation or ICE activity leaves a challenge for families. What do you do with your children if something happens to one of your family members? And so our representatives, our Congress people, in particular Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren, are taking some measures to make sure that we provide a safety net. One of those safety nets is right here. It's called the Child Safety Plan. And we're encouraging all of our families to link onto that. And what it is basically for your schools. You bring this to your school, and it's essentially like an emergency card. It's here are the people that you need to contact in our family in the event of some ICE activity or some immigrant-focused activity, so that my child will continue to be safe. And this will help make sure that there's a safety net for the children and for the family. Very important for our families to fill that out and send that into the school sites. And likewise, we're going to be getting us onto the page. But if you go on to Zoe Lofgren's page, she has an immigration platform as well. The other opportunities that are there, there's a form that should be out very soon, and we'll have it on our page. Basically, like an information sharing agreement. What it's asking parents to do is saying, here are the people that I'm giving permission for the schools or other agency to share with someone else. And so oftentimes, what we're seeing in some of the situations are families being separated and not knowing what happened to the family member. And it leaves a lot of people hanging in terms of where do we go? How can we find out? And they're not given the information. That form is a legal way for the family to say, you can share this information with these people, and that way they know the information they need to know. Obviously, it's something they want to fill out ahead of time, but it's a way of preparing, and we're asking our parents to be considering that action as well. And then last but not least, at least on this page, and happy to answer any questions, we have been hosting a couple of different times a Know Your Rights training for parents and families, and it's hosted through the Monterey School of Law. And it's really like a town hall, basically letting parents know, here are your rights, and here are the ways that you can execute these rights here in this state, how to be informed and what to do. And you can see some of that on this link here on the family preparedness column. We have finished our last round of those trainings, and we are waiting to see what the need will be and if there's request for more of those. And if so, we're going to try to put some more of those sessions on for parents and families to be able to access as well. So lots of information. We're very concerned, obviously, and trying to help in any way that we can. Again, this information is open to anyone in the county that would like to see it, or actually out of the county as well. Our principals and our superintendents are standing by to be helpful. So that's kind of what we have right now as an update. Very, very busy, but doing our very best to keep our students and families safe.
Thank you so much for walking us through this. And I've got some questions that have come in for you. One was if you could repeat some of the programs that were unimpounded that will survive now that the money's available.
Absolutely. Essentially, they're all of the federal title programs. The biggest programs really are the migrant student support programs, which are in the hundreds of millions of dollars. The Head Start preschool programs were the two biggest programs. There are a few other scatterings here and there. Most of those go to local school districts, not so much to the county offices. But the migrant program was probably the largest, and that program supports our migrant families. As we try to make sure everyone understands, migrant families are moving throughout the state, following the crops, following the work. And so it's not that they're I think there's a general misconception out there that the migrant families are choosing to move around, and these migrant programs are forcing them to move around, and it's quite the opposite. The programs are in place to help support them. And so when you're thinking of those title programs, think of migrant student support programs and Head Start preschool programs, especially for low-income families. Those are the two biggies, and those were threatened to not exist any longer. It's important to note that the federal funding operates on a different timeline than school funding. The federal funding we don't see until the end of October. And so they're always funding that forward. It's always funded a year in advance because they know schools start and are already in session. And so we have to be prepared with our staff to start school on time in early August. And so the federal programs understand that. So now at this stage of the game, we're funded through the end of this school year. What we're waiting to see is whether or not the Senate will then work with the administration to continue funding those programs in the future. We got a 1-year respite, but we want to make sure that we're seeing that continue on. We know that the Senate seems to be leaning positively towards supporting that, but obviously, when they make the sausage, they got to work with the federal administration to see what's going to come of it. So any opportunity you have to advocate for these programs, please do. Serves a lot of students and a lot of staff here all throughout the county.
Certainly. And then the other question is, you talked about this at the school level, they're talking with families who may not have arrived on the first day or children that aren't there, that staff is checking back in. Are you hearing anecdotally from staff in the districts about what families are saying about, their concerns, their fears, their anxiety?
Absolutely. Again, as I mentioned, right now, knock on wood, it's been very positive. We're getting great attendance, especially from our immigrant families. The concerns that we're hearing so far, or this early in the year, are some of what I echoed earlier, just the fear that families are going to be separated while their children are at school and what happens with that. And, in the news, we've been seeing a lot of, at least not in this county yet, but in other areas like in Los Angeles, of families being separated, being deported or taken by ICE at their workspaces, and they're unable to inform their families what happened to them. And so I think that's the fear, that parents will be at work, whether it's at one of the farming industries or its service industry, something happens and they're unable to inform their families, and what do they do with their children? That's the biggest worry. And so we're really trying to push the family planning. Let us know what we can do and how we can support if the event that happens. The other piece that I think has been really great, our local law enforcement has been very, very supportive. Obviously, we're all going to follow the law. There's a federal warrant that we're required to follow. We will abide by the law, but we're going to do everything we can to make sure that our students are safe and protected. And law enforcement want the same. We all want our students to feel safe and secure, and I appreciate their cooperation as we continue to move forward.
Dr. Porras, thank you so much for walking us through this and kind of giving us that beginning of the year snapshot. And we hope to hear more from you if you have new programs, like if you're going to host more events, we'd love to have you back on to talk about that.
Absolutely. We're happy to do so. I tell people all the time, the more adults that know our children, the safer they're going to feel. And this has been a big family in this county, and we're really grateful for it. So appreciate all the work.
Thank you. Well, as Dr. Porras just said, school back in session, but there is still plenty of outdoor weather for everybody to take advantage of. And luckily, our libraries have something for you for that. Alison Day is here to explain how to get an outdoor kit. And she's going to talk a little bit about summer reading. Hi, Alison.
Hi, thanks for having me back. It looked like I froze for a second, but I'm here. So I'll start by talking about summer reading just because that's a good transition from summer back into school, but also what we can do outside still. So I'm going to share screen and share some of the highlights from our summer reading numbers. All right. Can you see that okay?
Sure can.
Awesome. So we're going to be posting this on our social media page later today, but these are just the highlights of our program for 2025. So for signups, we had 4,025 people sign up throughout the county for summer reading this year. That includes kids, teens, and adults. And we had 1,060 finishers. So finisher numbers are always lower because people get busy with vacations and getting ready to go back to school, but we consider this a very big success of having over 1,000 finishers. One thing that we take a lot of pride in, of course, is the amount of books that we're able to distribute into home libraries. So when you sign up for summer reading, everybody receives a free book for signing up. So we were able to distribute 3,284 books. Some people decide not to select a book when they start, so that's why the sign up numbers don't quite add up. But we got over 3,000 books into the community and into those home libraries, which we love. We had 84 live in-person programs offered through the county, and we had 2,517 attendees at those programs. And I pulled one quote. There were many quotes that we got on our feedback surveys throughout the summer, but this one I really loved. And that is, thanks to the reading club, my daughter developed ownership of her reading and now reads to her stuffies. Not only did I love that because I'm a big stuffy lover myself, but what we're trying to do with summer reading is really have kids and teens and even adults just develop and foster that love of reading. So knowing that there was at least one little one and probably many more unreported little ones throughout the summer that developed that ownership, as this caregiver says, and now is reading to stuffies, conducting story times on her own, is really heartwarming and what we really love to see. And we get a lot of stuff on our feedback surveys of people saying that they love summer reading. They wish we had something for winter. And good news is we do. So for the past 5 years, we have been offering the Winter Reading Club. So that will start in December, and I'm sure that I'll be invited back to talk about that once we get started with that. So that goes for the entire month of December and January, and it's very similar to our summer reading club. So if you loved summer reading or perhaps didn't get a chance to participate, you just have a couple months before we'll be doing winter reading. So I'm going to switch now to my other screen share thing, which is to talk about our new outdoor kits. So the Monterey County Free Libraries has been developing this library of things. It's something that has been trending in libraries for a little while now. You've probably heard of it, and that is circulating non-traditional materials. So something other than the books, DVDs that you're used to checking out from the library. We at MCFL have had these non-traditional materials for a little while in the form of telescopes that you could check out or other various kits. But we were fortunate enough to receive a grant last year to start expanding that library of things, or lot as we call it, library of things, to these outdoor kits that we're really pleased to have launched at the start of summer. So with these outdoor kits, you get them for 3 weeks, just like you would a book, and they're available for checkout as long as you have an MCFL library card. So you don't have to do anything other than have your library card and you can check them out. We have bocce ball. We have a bird watching kit, which comes with binoculars and a local bird watching guide, and it's specific to the Monterey Bay area. And of course, we have many other books in the collection about bird watching that you can check out to help with that as well. This is one of our most popular ones that we have that we added in. It's a stargazing kit. So it comes with headlamps, a monocular so that you can look at the stars, and a couple other little planetary guides there. And everything comes in its own little carrying case. And there is, you can see here on the tag, a list of all of the contents of what's inside. We have a croquet set, and it's for families. So there's mallets for younger kids and for older adults. We have badminton kits, and we have cornhole, which has been quite popular. And the cornhole, they Velcro together so that you can carry them with a little strap there. And then we've got pickleball, which has also been a very popular one. We have soccer kits, and then we also just have individual soccer balls available for checkout. So like I said, all of these are available with your library card, and you can place them on hold. So if you go to, for instance, to the Seaside branch and they don't have the outdoor adventure kit that you're looking for, you can place it on hold, and then it gets brought to the library of your choice from whatever library it's at. So if you were, like I said, at Seaside and you wanted something that was, let's say, all the way down in Parkfield, you just place that hold and we'll give you a call when it's ready for you to pick up at your branch of choosing. So that's a really cool thing that we just launched at the start of summer. You can find them in our catalog online by just typing in outdoor adventure kits into the catalog search bar. We also have a number of other kits that go into the library of things, and I would love to come back to a future news briefing to talk more about those.
Alison, thank you so much. And how
You're
great,
welcome.
are so easy to get. And the
Yes.
fact you put it in and order it and have it, if anyone's ever wanted a book or something from the library and they didn't have it locally, if you don't know that you can order it and have it brought to your library, if you haven't taken advantage of it, you should, because really, it really helps a lot of, in planning and still getting the thing that you want. Can you tell me which of the outdoor kits seems to be the most popular right now? Because you're hitting all the trends.
Yes. So when we were looking at what to purchase, we were guided to have some sort of theme. So that was why we landed on outdoor stuff. We wanted to partner up a little bit with the idea of being outside in some of our wonderful spaces throughout Monterey County. And we had, so one that was not in my pictures that we got donated to us was disc golf kits from a local disc golf club. It's very hard to say disc golf if you say it too fast. And so that was kind of what spurred us on. So we tried to think about what was really trendy. The ones that I've seen moving a lot so far, and it might just be because they're so large, are the cornhole kits. And I see those coming out a lot, especially in July. I think people were using them for some of their 4th of July barbecues. But it seems like all of them are very popular. The stargazing ones also have been quite popular and have been checked out a lot. But I work in the admin offices where all of the materials go through on their way to different branches. And so I've seen all of the kits coming through from one branch to another going out. But I think that probably the stargazing and the cornhole have been popular. The soccer balls were really popular with the kids who hang out at the Carmel Valley branch after school, to the extent where we had to buy them a new one because one got stuck on the roof. And then when they got it off the roof, the kids accidentally kicked it out into the street and got run over by a car. So we have purchased them a new soccer ball already, and they have been told that they need to be more mindful of what happens with it. But we're thrilled to see how popular they are, even with people just using them in the branch to kind of play around while they're waiting after school.
Well, if you can see cornhole on TV on the sports channels, you can get now you can get an outdoor kit with cornhole. You're in.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Alison, for sharing this, and we hope everybody goes to the website and finds their favorite kit.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us again. We appreciate it.
And so we're on the theme of being outdoors. We're heading into the hottest part of the year in our area, and we don't want you to forget your pets and livestock when it comes to hot weather. And with the weather, it makes it perfect for our upcoming event at Hitchcock Road Animal Services, which is Dog August Nights. We've got Cindy Burnham from Hitchcock Road here to talk about both those things. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Maya. Hi, thank you for having me today. I will share my screen. I've got couple slides here. Oh, there it is. Okay. Do you see the big blue sign?
Sure do.
All right, excellent. Yes, we're excited for our Dog August nights, but first I wanted to start with some warm weather reminders. You're right. We're finally getting summer, and it seems like all of a sudden it just flipped a switch. And so, wanted to send some reminders about the heat in our pets, and it's not just pets, any animals outside, chickens, goats, horses. They're all susceptible to getting overheated. So be aware of heat spells that may affect like basically now, probably through, the next couple weeks. If you are warm, so are they. They don't sweat like we do. And so if we're warm and think it's warm, they have coats on. They don't sweat like us. So just be mindful of that. Always provide access to fresh, clean water and shade always. Just making sure that they can cool off. Limit exercise on hot days. I know I don't like going out and doing a workout, when it's, super warm out, neither do they, and it can hurt them. So if you need to take them for a walk, do it first thing in the morning when it's really cool out, or even at night, you can get some lights and, kind of make it a little nighttime adventure. And never ever leave animals in a parked car for any amount of time. I know it's very quick to be like, oh, I'll just bring them and I'll run into the store. But a car's temp can increase 20 degrees in just 10 minutes. Cracking a window doesn't help. Opening sunroofs doesn't help. Our cars are like little incubators with all of the windows, and the heat just magnifies. And again, our pets don't sweat. So they literally just start burning up, and they can't breathe. And so leave them at home. They'll understand. They'll thank you for it later. Take them for a walk that evening. But really, keeping animals out of parked cars is really important. Feel free to trim the longer hair on your dog, but we caution, do not shave your dog. Hair, while it can be long and unruly and seem warm, hair for our pets actually helps them regulate their body temperature. And so if you completely shave them down, you can actually cause them to overheat and sunburn. So trim it, of course, but don't shave it. And don't let dogs linger on hot asphalt. We see people taking dogs for walks all the time, and if it's hot on your feet, it's hot on theirs. So again, that's where you have to question, should I leave them at home? Knowing the signs of overheating or heat stroke, um, heavy panting, kind of glazed eyes, a rapid heart rate, difficulty breathing, excessive thirst, lethargy, kind of all the things that we might feel, our pets can feel first or can feel as well. So get them in shade, air conditioning, apply ice packs and cold towels on their head and neck, just like we would do for ourselves. Don't dip them in super cold water. It's too much of a shock for the system. And then get them to a vet. This can be really tricky if it's gone too far. And unfortunately, we have had pets pass away from heat stroke or heat exhaustion. So you really just need to be aware. And if in doubt, contact your veterinarian. Or if you're worried about going to a vet and it's going to be too hot, leave them at home. And now for the fun part. So this Saturday is our third annual Dog August Nights and Adoption event at Hitchcock Road. We are waiving all adoption fees for all animals, dogs, cats. We have a couple bunnies, I think, as well. We've invited some local food vendors to come out. We'll have mini pancakes, Dubai chocolate strawberries. I tried those for the first time in June, and those are delicious. Great baked potatoes, street corn, quesadilla tacos is there, and those plates are amazing. We're also invited some of our rescue and community partners to come out, so we'll have our representation from our South County partners, South County Animal Rescue, our Neighborhood Pet Project, our community partner with Snip Bus that helps folks with low-cost spay-neuter. They'll be out there. You can come talk to them. We did have some cars show up last year, so if you have a fancy car and you want to, stroll on out here, even if you're not looking for an to adopt right now, you can come out and enjoy the great weather and get some good eats and meet some great folks. So we're really excited about this event. A lot of work goes into it. And so we wanted to make sure everybody knew our special hours. We will not be doing adoptions until this event on Saturday. So normally we'll do adoptions from 11 to 4 on Saturdays, but this Saturday our adoptions will be from 4 to 8. So you'll need to look online to see what's available. We're working on that list right now of who's going to become available, and so that will change daily up until Saturday. We will be offering other services like pet licensing, owner redemption. If your pet is here, you can come get it. If you found a stray animal, you can bring that through 1 to 5. So we are opening late at 1 o'clock on Saturday for all the other services, but we are restricting our adoptions to that event. We want to make sure that there's animals available for adoption this evening or that evening. What to know for Saturday's event? We will have a 1 pet per household adoption. Although if there's a couple kittens that are in the same litter, we always think that 2 kittens is better than 1. If you do have your own dog and you're looking to adopt a second dog, please bring it so we can do a brief introduction. We find that that's helpful to make the bringing home a new pet successful. And we still want folks to know, because we have questions. We still want you to be prepared. These adoptions events, yes, we waive the fees, but the prep work on your end for the adopter is still the same. Adopting is a big deal, and being prepared still applies. Know what's realistic and reasonable for your family. For example, are you prepared for a puppy and have a plan for house and potty training? Who's going to watch the pet while folks are at work and schools are starting now? Are you able to provide the veterinary support for a new pet? That's an important piece of adopting. Are you ready to introduce a new pet to existing pets and have the time for that? Is everyone in your home ready for a new pet? And making sure that you're allowed to have pets where you live. Those are some of the questions that we run into. And so we just want folks to know that it all still applies, even on a special adoption event. And if you want a preview of what's adoptable, they're all on our website at hitchcockroadanimals.org. It updates daily, so you'll see what comes in, you'll see what's available. There will be more available animals coming into the next couple days leading up to event that are available now, as we've got some stray holds we're working through and animals are going through our clinic. So it's all getting ready for Saturday. There's my contact information if you want more. And with that, I will stop sharing and see if there's any questions.
Yeah, Cindy, thanks so much for walking through this, especially how to be prepared for adopting, because I think people have big hearts and they have the desire, but then the reality, of those questions is is an important role that your staff plays in making sure that everyone's happy. But given that you have had some pretty heartwarming adoptions from the shelter over the last few days, your social media, which is wonderful, is showing some pretty happy new families. And I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about the success that goes in to getting those adoptions, especially from pets that are long-term.
Yes, we have had some really nice stories lately, and it goes into those adoptions for some of the dogs that have been here 100+ days. Go into just the efforts of staff, keeping them mentally enriched here. Our volunteers who are also helping with that, coming out and walking them, sharing our social media, sharing it all over the world to help find these matches. I mean, it definitely is, it takes a village. And so, we're doing what we can to, to make the time where the animals are here as enriching as possible, because that's really what helps them get into that home. But it's really the outpouring of support that, on the external of getting the word out there that we've got these phenomenal animals. And so, yeah, it's been pretty great. And we've been, sometimes we get busy and we forget to take those pictures, but we've been having some special adoptions for some of our favorites here recently. And so we've been able to share those.
And I think in the last week or so, you have had to do a code red call out for adopters, for rescues, for fosters. I mean, it's going to happen at the shelter at times where there's going to be more animals than at other times. Where are you at right now? I mean, in general.
Well, July and August are our busiest times a year, especially what we do is we do see kind of a slowing of adoptions this time of year when schools start. And so what that does is that slows the animals that are leaving the shelter while what comes in typically does not slow down. And so we do put that messaging out because we want folks to know, like, hey, we're still here. We still have animals coming in. We still need adoptions. Our rescue partners are super important for us, but they're also facing fosters who families are going back to school and they're having some slowdowns as well. And so it's kind of this trickle effect. And so that's part of why we decided to have this event at the end of summer. We had a big one in June for beginning of summer, now an end of summer one, to help folks and remind folks that, hey, we're here. We still need adopters to come and adopt out pets, because that's, we are unfortunately not able to hold them indefinitely. We absolutely hold them as long as we can. And so some of that messaging is like, hey, we still want folks to come and adopt from us, because adopting a shelter pet is really an amazing thing, and you are truly saving a life of an animal by doing that.
Cindy, best of luck on Dog August night. It's really a fun event. If anyone has not been to it, go out. Even if you want to just meet the staff, meet the rescue partners, have some yummy food. It's really a lot of fun.
Yep, we'll all be there. So come on out. And like I said, the weather should be great out here.
Thanks, Cindy. And thanks everyone for joining us on the news briefing this week. Our next briefing is next week. We'll see you then.